Hi, Vijay Mystery here. In this video, I just want to share with you Good Governance 2018, how to maximize value. Now, you and I know that governance, as per Sir Adrian Cadbury, he said governance was directing and controlling. But over the years, this definition has evolved to another heightened level altogether. And I just want to share with you certain good governance practices. I'm sure there are many other elements as well, but I believe these stand out. So let's go straight into what these governance elements are, which can make a positive impact to the growth of your organization. Now, first and foremost, multiple lens, big picture. Now, here's the thing. When you are at an elevated level in any place, whether it's a building or whether it's a mountain or whatever sort of environment you are, you will see a bigger picture. And that bigger picture is very important. So what you really need to do from the context of an organization, you need to pick up that bigger picture and see things with multiple lenses. In other words, whether it's the finance, whether it's the risk, whether it's the growth levels, whether it's the market, everything has to be seen at that 50,000 feet level. Remember, the core distinctions between governance and management is that governance is basically crafting that vision and making sure that you painted a picture as to where you're going. And management is activity driven, ensuring that strategy translates into results. So here's the thing, always have that elevated thinking. I note in many organizations, and I'm referring to mainly mid-sized and large organizations, private companies, where they just hold one meeting. It's more of a management meeting rather than having that elevated thinking and that big picture mindset discussions, which should be segregated from the strategy and the management activities of an organization. This is key to the growth of any organization. So in order for you to maximize, what do you really need? You need clarity in understanding what the big picture is. Let's move to the second point, which is equally important: diversity. My dear friends, we are in a technology-driven environment with machine learning, 3D printing, and so many other evolving technological drivers coming out. What does that really mean for your organization? You need to have the skill set for in context of the future. You need to understand that everything has changed. The old notion of having layers and layers of decision making has to shift to a new reality altogether. In order to do that, you need to have the diversification of viewpoints. This is so powerful and so important. And by the way, if you're a mid-sized organization who can't really afford more board members, you can now outsource these services. You can tap into resource globally with online. If you're watching this video, it means you can get resource from anywhere in the world. This is so powerful, yet it hasn't been used to the maximum advantage. So have that diversity. That diversity itself is going to build up towards the key ingredients of growth for your organization. Let's move to the third point, which is oversight and risk. Now, this may sound basic, that you need to have oversight mechanisms and you need to have the right risk thresholds, risk appetite to ensure that your organization is within the navigational path of what you want to achieve. Now, here's the thing. Oversight and mechanism are key elements. They're not the only elements, but they are key elements. And you need to pay particular attention to oversight. The reason being that many organizations neglect this one element of oversight, and they do not have that consistency in place. They do not have that depth of oversight mechanisms which can help them to unfold and surface out certain challenges and issues that your organization might be facing. This is why I emphasize that oversight is really, really important, very powerful, and ensuring that you have the right oversight mechanisms. And here's the thing, have those policies in place. Look into this model. It's called policy governance model, and I'm not selling any model here, but I'm asking you, I'm sharing certain insights that consider certain mechanisms, like the policy governance model itself has got different quadrants, but it is all about having those right blueprints in your organization so that you have the right interpretation and the monitoring mechanisms which can help your organization move to another level altogether. Let's move to the next point, which performance maximizers. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you're making any decisions, and in governance, what you really need to consider is this. What are the performance maximizers? For example, your team, your leadership team itself, the key executive management team in your organization, those are the performance maximizers. The collective mindset of these people alone can add so much leverage to the growth of your organization. So one of the aspects of good governance is to ensure you've got the right talent pipeline, to ensure you've got the right leadership pipeline. Another performance maximizer is technology, like I mentioned earlier, whether it's machine learning, 3D printing, all this big data, artificial intelligence, so many other aspects coming out. And this is another performance maximizer which is changing the shape of organizations. So one of the key elements of good governance is to ensure that you identify the key root specific drivers which are going to drive leverage to your organization. Let me move to the fifth point, which is challenging viewpoints. Now, oversight and risk is important, like I mentioned. You need to ensure that you challenge viewpoints. If you're in a board, challenging viewpoints is critical, because I've noticed in some organizations, this is what happens, is that they simply endorse what the CEO says. And this is such a big problem, or rather this is such a big drawdown to the growth of an organization. Just because the CEO is a friend or has built up this relation with the board does not mean that whatever he or she says is to be endorsed. But you need to challenge those viewpoints, critical thinking, and when linking your mindset to the purpose of the organization, to the vision of the organization, rather than just agreeing to what a CEO tells you. So this can change the face and the dimension and the growth for your organization. Have that challenge, have that authenticity, have that reality within yourself to ensure that once you understand what's happening in the organization, you can challenge certain viewpoints, with confidence. That is very important. Only then are you really contributing true value to the growth of your organization. Let's move to the sixth point, second layer. Now, you need to be having transparency in your organization. That is one of the good governance principles, is transparency is key. And when you have transparency, it means that the trust level increases. So when does the trust level increase? Is when you get unfiltered information and you get access to other executives within your organization whom you can collaborate and engage and observe to ensure that the information and insights that you're getting can help towards growth-driven effective decisions. So this is key, ensuring that the second layer, you understand, you observe, you have to step down to understand whether the activities and everything, the money-making recipe or the whole strategy itself is working into translating into results. So ensure you have that transparency in place, because that moves towards trust. Let's move to the last point, which is what next? Connect to vision. You need to be curious. You need to understand that you have to keep on progressing. And in order to progress, what do you really need to do? You need to find out what the next milestone is. What is the next stepping stone? You have to keep on looking into whether you need to innovate, whether you need to change a product or a service. What is it that means? How can you really align yourself with the market changes and with the customer and client behavior? So in order for you to do this, you need to be stepping up your game every now and again. So you have to keep on progressing and make sure you have the right measures, the right dashboards in place, not only for yourself, and not only am I talking about board appraisal, but I'm also talking about you are moving the path of progression at all times. So it means that you are connecting, it means that you know all the touch points, it means you are having those right perceptions as to where the turning points are for the growth of your organization. My dear friends, these are just some elements of Good Governance 2018, maximizing value. I hope you found some value from this particular video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video where I'll share with you more growth-driven insights to scale up your organization as well as help you become a world-class leader, entrepreneur, director, executive, and manager. Thank you very much. Bye for now.